Continuing on the topic of reincarnation, in my previous video I explored past lives of Jesus, and in this video I wanted to explore past lives of Mary Magdalene. Mary wasn't just a random woman that happened to meet Jesus at the right time. It was an accident that Mary had deeper spiritual understanding and could grasp teachings of Jesus better than any other disciples. There was a deeper reason for this, and this reason was that Mary had gone through many past lives, and just like Jesus had a specific mission on earth. To understand this mission better, it is important to mention the first prophecy from the book of Zechariah. In the book of Zechariah, similarly to the book of Revelations, we see two olive trees and two anointed servants who stand by the two sides of God. One is at the right side of God, and the other one at the left side of God. Then I answered and said to him, "What are these two olive trees, at the right of the lampstand and at its left?" Zechariah 4:11. So he said, "These are the two anointed ones who stand beside the Lord of the whole earth." Zechariah 4, verse 14. Therefore there are two anointed ones. We know that the first one is Jesus, or Christ's soul, that lived many lives and was anointed as King David and Jesus. The second anointed is the second servant who also lived many lives. The book of Isaiah is a conversation of God with his two servants, and in this book, the second servant has many names: the daughter of Zion, Jerusalem, Israel, disappointing vineyard, desolate. She is the daughter of God. In the book of Isaiah chapter 50, Jesus is her hope, he is her redeemer. More on this you can find in my other video on two servants. Therefore, we will call Mary's soul as the soul of the daughter of Zion. Just like Christ's soul started as Adam, daughter of Zion's soul started as Eve. Mary, contrary to Jesus, was not fully perfected soul in her life as Mary. However, each soul has different missions, different obstacles to overcome, and require a different amount of lives to get to that state. As I explained in my previous video about past lives of Jesus, Christ's soul achieved perfection and 5 levels of the soul. These levels act as a map of consciousness, coming first from external and physical actions to inner, intimate, and transcendent spiritual experiences. These levels correspond to different depths of consciousness and connection to the divine. The lowest level is Nefesh, that is associated with the physical body and animalistic instincts. The second level is Ruach, which is the emotional self and personality. It represents the middle soul, connecting the body's instincts, drives to the higher intellectual and spiritual realms. The third level is Neshama, the intellectual self of higher consciousness. It allows for comprehension of divine concepts and moral understanding. The fourth level is Shayah. This is the supra-rational soul level that transcends individual consciousness. It represents the will, desire, and faith, bridging the individual to higher spiritual realms. The final fifth level is Yeshidah, the highest, most divine level of the soul. It represents the essence of the soul, a spark of God, that this soul is absolutely united and one with God. That is why our mission here on earth is to become one with God, just like Jesus achieved. Through the lens of reincarnation, we can see the daughter of Zion's soul in different bodies and different expressions, depending on the circumstances, times, accumulated knowledge, and level of consciousness. There is a constant pattern or lesson reappearing in her different lives, suggesting that soul sometimes needs more time and more lives to be perfected. Similarly to Christ's soul, the daughter of Zion's soul started from the level 0 as Eve. Eve was created out of Adam's rib and taken out of Adam's side. She represents the feminine, subconscious, or emotional aspect of human soul. Originating as one, the separation of Eve from Adam symbolizes a split in consciousness or the soul, and with a reunion of feminine and masculine representing a return to inner wholeness and divine unity. The daughter of Zion's soul, similarly to Christ's soul, had a unique tikkun, which means unique mission. This is really the purpose of each soul experiencing different lives, to not only achieve perfection and become one with God, but also to complete unique mission ordained by God. In order to achieve perfection, this can only be lived through and experienced through different trials and tribulations. These are the tests and opportunities for one to fulfill their mission and spiritual purpose, and also to rectify past mistakes and learn lessons. People often want to avoid any lessons to escape suffering and difficulties. However, that is the only way to ascend, through those trials. The distinctive tikkun each one is meant to accomplish in the world is a tikkun to that soul itself. However, the soul is not able to complete the whole mission in one life. This is a process of becoming and evolving, ascending to the perfected state that can only be lived through and experienced. How Mary achieved her ascension. Starting as Eve, the mother of all life and a partner to Adam, Eve represents rebellion and disobedience. Eve, as we know, was deceived by the serpent and took a fruit from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. What attracted Eve to make that decision was the fact that the tree was pleasant to the eyes and desirable to make one wise. This represents not only disobedience, but also being led by the flesh and the eyes, therefore senses. This is the lowest level of the soul, nefesh, that is associated with the physical body and animalistic instincts. The consequence of this decision was catastrophic for Adam and Eve, as they were rejected from the Garden of Eden and started their process of soul ascension through trials and tribulations. Contrary to how it's viewed in Christianity, this was not a creation of original sin as a doctrine that false apostle came up with. This was a more of an initiation process of the soul ascension and starting from the lowest level of the soul. However, God has also put some obstacles to this process and cursed both Adam and Eve in different ways, which will represent a pattern of struggles for men and women. To the woman he said, "I will greatly multiply your sorrows and your conception. In pain you shall bring forth children. Your desire shall be for your husband, and he shall rule over you." Genesis 3, verse 16. Then to Adam he said, "Because you have heeded the voice of your wife, and have eaten from the tree of which I commanded you, saying, You shall not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for your sake. In toil you shall eat of it, all the days of your life. Both thorns and thistles it shall bring forth for you. You shall eat the herbs of the field. In the sweat of your face you shall eat bread, till you return to the ground, for out of it you were taken. For dust you are, and to dust you shall return." Genesis 3, verse 17 to 19. And Adam called his wife's name Eve, because she was the mother of all living. Genesis 3, verse 20. Therefore, the soul of the daughters of Zion represents disobedience and desolation. She is also the mother of all living and a part of Christ's soul, although they were not together in each life. In the next reincarnation, her soul comes back as Rachel, the daughter of Laban. Rachel is the younger daughter and the one that Jacob falls in love with. She meets Jacob by the well, and Jacob instantly falls in love with her as she is known for her beauty. She was also a shepherdess for her father, which is interesting connection to Jesus. Rachel was beloved by Jacob, but initially barren and couldn't have children, leading to a long rivalry with her sister Leah, who bore many children to Jacob. Rachel eventually bore Joseph and later died while giving birth to her second son, Benjamin, on the road to Bethlehem. Here we see one of the consequences of her sin as Eve, where she is first refused or delayed to receive her first fruit, but also, due to God cursing the childbirth, she dies giving birth to her second child. We also have another connection to Jesus. Rachel gives birth on the road to Bethlehem. Rachel, just like Eve, represents disobedience. When Jacob was running away from her father, she stole pagan gods from her father and hid them under the saddle. She represents pagan land, and that is why the marriage of Jacob, a holy land, with Rachel, pagan land, which also represents Gentiles, is the pre-shadow of the fulfillment at the end times. Nevertheless, Jacob and Rachel represents the marriage of Christ and his bride at the end. Now Rachel had taken the household idols, put them in the camel's saddle and sat on them. And Laban searched all about the tent but did not find them. And she said to her father, "Let it not displease my lord that I cannot rise before you, for the mother of woman is with me." And he searched, but he did not find the household idols. Genesis 31, verse 34 to 35. The next life is quite interesting and symbolizes consequences of Rahel's decisions by choosing pagan gods. She comes back as Tamar. Tamar was a Canaanite woman, therefore coming from a pagan land, and a daughter-in-law of Judah. She was married to Judah's son, Er and Onan, both of whom were killed by God for their wickedness, leaving her childless widow. When Judah failed to give her his third son, Shelah, Tamar disguised herself as a veiled prostitute to trick Judah into impregnating her. By securing his seal, cord, and a staff as a pledge, she proved her pregnancy was by him, ensuring her place in the family line and becoming an ancestor of Jesus. Tamar's life was a consequence not only of the sin of her first life as Eve and being refused of her fruit for a long time and being barren, but also her second life as Rahel, where she was a Canaanite woman due to Rahel's sin of stealing pagan gods from her father. Moreover, the element of being veiled as a prostitute and playing a harlot also connects to the life of Rahel, where she was veiled as a bride. However, there is interesting element that will link her to her next life, scarlet thread. Now it came to pass at the time of giving birth that, behold, twins were in her womb. And so it was, when she was giving birth, that the one put out his hand, and the midwife took a scarlet thread and bowed it on his hand, saying, "This one came out first." Then it happened, as he drew back his hand, and his brother came out unexpectedly, and she said, "How did you break through? This breach be upon you." Therefore his name was called Perez. Afterward his brother came out, who had the scarlet thread on his hand, and his name was called Zerach. Genesis 38, verse 27 to 30. The next life of the daughters Zion's soul has even more consequences. She comes back as Rahab, a Canaanite prostitute in Jericho, who famously aided 2 Israelite spies sent by Joshua. In this life, not only she comes back as a Canaanite woman again, but due to pretending to be a prostitute as a Tamar, she comes back as a real prostitute in Jericho, living in the wall of Jericho. Rahab is also highlighted as an ancestor to Jesus. She characterized with a lot of courage, and she chose God to be her God, even though she was coming from a pagan land. The story of Rahab was quite fascinating. When the king of Jericho saw the spies, Rahab hid them on her roof under the stalks of flocks and misdirected the searchers. In exchange for her protection, she requested that her family be spared when Jericho was destroyed. The spies instructed her to tie a scarlet cord in her window to mark her house, ensuring her family's safety during the battle. So the men said to her, "We will be blameless of this oath of yours which you have made us swear, unless, when you come into the land, you bind this line of scarlet cord in a window through which you let us down, and unless you bring your father, your mother, your brothers, and all your father's household to your own home. So it shall be that whoever goes outside the doors of your house into the street, this blood shall be on his own head, and we will be guiltless. And whoever is with you in the house, his blood shall be on your head, and if a hand is laid on him. And if you tell this business of ours, then we will be free from your oath which you made us swear." Then she said, "According to your words, so be it." And she sent them away, and they departed. And she bound the scarlet cord in the window. Joshua 2, verse 17 to 21. Rahab lived among the Israelites and continued worshiping God. This caused her next life to be rewarded, because in the next life, the daughter of Zion comes back as Deborah, a prophetess and the only female judge in the Bible. This is an important role that foreshadows her future role as one that will be judging with Jesus, the second arm of God. Deborah led Israel to liberation from 20 years of Canaanite oppression by King Jabin. Interestingly, in this life she is no longer a Canaanite woman, but a Jewish woman who helps liberate from Canaanites. Due to her bravery as Rahab, she is able to express her soul in a righteous way in the body of Deborah. An interesting fact linking her with the past life as Tamar was the fact that Tamar was sitting by the roadside playing harlot. This time Deborah is sitting under the palm tree. An unrighteous act turned into a righteous one as Deborah directed the commander Barak to fight Sisera, the enemy general, and accompanied him to battle. She accurately prophesied that woman Jael would kill Sisera, leading to 40 years of peace. Deborah was a judge, prophetess, and a mother in Israel, acting as a leader and mediator in a male-dominated society. She held her court under a palm tree. Her role as a mother is repeated in this life. Her soul started as Eve, the mother of all living, then as Rahel, the mother of tribes of Israel, and then as Deborah, the mother figure in Israel due to her judgments. The connection with the daughter of Zion is visible in a song of Deborah. Awake, awake, Deborah. Awake, awake, sing a song. Arise, Barak, and lead your captives away, O son of Abionam. Judges 5, verse 12. Awake, awake, put on strength, O arm of the Lord. Awake as in ancient days, in the generations of old. Are you not the arm that could Rahab apart and wounded the serpent? Are you not the one who dried up the sea, the waters of the great deep, that made the depths of the sea a road for the redeemed to cross over? So the ransomed of the Lord shall return, and come to Zion with singing, with everlasting joy on their heads. They shall obtain joy and gladness. Sorrow and sinning shall flee away. Isaiah 51, verse 9 to 11. Here we see not only connection to being an arm of the Lord and standing on the left side of the Lord, but also we have a connection to Rahab, another past life of the daughter of Zion. We also see a connection in the name Tamar, that means palm tree, where Deborah was sitting under and judging Israel. The next life of the soul of the daughter of Zion is quite tragic. She comes back as Tamar again, the daughter of King David, which we know from previous video was Christ's soul. Therefore they meet in this life not as a couple, but as a father and daughter, a different dynamic. The name Tamar, apart from palm tree, also symbolizes beauty, uprightness, grace, and fertility. Tamar was an Israelite princess renowned for her beauty. However, she was brutally raped by her half-brother Ammon, David's eldest son, who became obsessed with her and with the help of a friend, tricked her into coming to his room to cook, where he raped her. There is this connection with food, as it started with Eve and the fruit. This time her fruit was taken away from her completely. Despite the violation and her brother Absalom's subsequent vengeance, David failed to punish Ammon, leaving Tamar a desolate, broken woman in her brother's house. Due to the rape, she couldn't be married to anyone, and therefore she symbolically tore her robes, placed ash on her head, and cried out in agony. This was definitely a sad life for Tamar and the soul of Adam and Eve meeting in completely different circumstances. Due to the righteous life as Deborah and repaying for some of her sins in the life of Tamar, the soul of the daughter of Zion comes back in the next life as Esther. Esther was a young Jewish girl who lost both of her parents and was adopted by Mordecai, who worked for the king Ahasuerus. This life represents courage and also righteousness. After Queen Vashti was deposed for disobeying King Ahasuerus, a search for a new queen leads to Esther being chosen for her beauty and grace. However, King's advisor Haman was plotting to kill all Jews in the empire. Esther kept her identity as a secret. However, upon hearing the plan of Haman, she couldn't ignore this and allow for her nation to be killed. She urged all Jews to fast 3 days, where she prayed to God for strength. After a 3-day fast, Esther courageously approached the king without being summoned, risking death to expose Haman and to save her people. Her famous words, "If I perish, I perish," symbolize courage and a deep faith in God's help. The king listens to Esther and orders Haman to be executed on the gallows he had built for Mordecai. Her actions and 3-day fast symbolizes obedience, leading to the establishment of the Feast of Purim. Esther, as queen, exercises her future role by the side of Christ at the end. In the next life, the soul of the daughter of Zion, having completed disobedience, harlotry, desolation, and courage, she comes back as a harlot again in a life of Gomer. The name Gomer in Hebrew means to complete, to end, or perfection, symbolizing completion or the end that her soul will complete with the soul of Christ. Gomer was a wife of the prophet Hosea and described as a promiscuous or a harlot, to symbolically illustrate Israel's spiritual idolatry and unfaithfulness to God. God commanded Hosea to marry a harlot to visually demonstrate the broken relationship between God and Israel. Gomer is portrayed as consistently unfaithful, pursuing other lovers despite her marriage to Hosea. This marriage symbolizes redemption, faithfulness, and grace. Despite her action, Hosea's love does not stop, and he redeems her from slavery and buys her back. This is showcasing that even when humanity is unfaithful, God's love is persistent and redemptive. Let her put away her harlotries from her side and her adulteries from between her breasts, lest I strip her naked and expose her as in a day she was born. Hosea 2, verse 2-3. This is the reference to Eve and being exposed when she realized her nakedness. Therefore, behold, I will hedge up your way with thorns and wall her in, so that she cannot find her paths. Hosea 2, verse 6. This is reference to her life as Rahab, a prostitute living in the wall. I will also cause her mirth to cease, her feast days, her new moons, her Sabbaths, and all her appointed feasts. Hosea 2, verse 11. This is a reference to the life of Esther and her feast of Purim. And I will destroy her vines and her fig trees. Hosea 2, verse 12. This not only connects to Eve with the fig tree, but also to the disappointing vineyard from the book of Isaiah. My well-beloved has a vineyard on a very fruitful hill. He dug it up and cleared out its stones, and planted it with the choicest vine. He built a tower in its midst, and also made a winepress in it. So he expected it to bring forth good grapes, but it brought forth wild grapes. Isaiah 5, verse 2. The reference to the tower takes us to the next life of the soul of the daughter of Zion, and her life as Mary the Magdalene. Mary in the canonical Bible was called Mary Magdalene. However, she was given the name by Yeshua, the Magdala, that symbolizes the tower and strength. Contrary to what canonical Bible presented, Mary lived in Bethany with her sister Martha and brother Lazarus, which we see in the Gospel of the Beloved Companion. She was given the name Magdala after anointing Jesus, and she also anointed Jesus' head, not feet. Then Miriam, the Beloved Companion, took a jar of oil of pure and expensive spikenard and poured it upon the head of Yeshua and anointed him. And the house was full of sweet fragrance of the ointment. Gospel of the Beloved Companion. Only from the truth I tell you, whenever they speak of me, what she has done will also be told in memory of her. You do not know or understand what she has done. I tell you this, when all have abandoned me, only she shall stand beside me like a tower built on a high hill and fortified, cannot fall, nor can it be hidden. From this day forth, she shall be known as Magdala, for she shall be as a tower to my flock. And the time will soon come when her tower shall stand alone by mine. Gospel of the Beloved Companion. Jesus was prophesying that all his disciples will abandon him, but only Mary will stay by his side. But also, this statement confirms the fact that Mary was supposed to carry on with the teachings of Jesus and be the tower to his flock. The name tower is also not accidental. Not only it's linking her with the daughter of Zion from the book of Isaiah, but also with the name of her father. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous run to it and are safe. Proverbs 18, verse 10. The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer. Psalm 18, verse 2. Therefore, Mary is the daughter of a strong tower and a fortress. In other words, she is the daughter of the Most High God, who is identified as the tower and fortress. God is our tower and our rock. Therefore, Magdala identifies her with her father, the Most High God, and she is the daughter of God. This is the confirmation that she is more than just a random person. Mary was a controversial figure in the New Testament, yet having a prominent role in Jesus' ministry by being Jesus' witness to the crucifixion and then resurrection. Her role and persona has been significantly diminished throughout the centuries by the Church, which caused a lot of unanswered questions, speculations, and controversies. One of those controversies was the fact that she was branded as a prostitute by the Pope Gregory the Great. Pope Gregory, in one of his sermons, presented that Mary's original 7 demons as representing all her weaknesses, but then she had repented and turned the mass of her crimes to virtues. So Mary, the apostolic leader, became Mary Magdalene, the repentant prostitute. This label was also not accidental, as it was linking her with her past life as Rahab, the prostitute, and Gomer, the harlot. The change of Mary's persona was very significant and happened centuries after Mary's death and changed by the Church to diminish her role. Mary represented spiritual leadership that Church couldn't agree on for a woman to hold that position. Therefore, the second role of the repentant prostitute fitted well into the model of the Church. Another controversy was Dan Brown's book, The Da Vinci Code, where Mary was presented as Jesus' wife. This was quickly branded as conspiracy, as it didn't align to the version of Jesus the Roman Empire created. However, all the ancient texts like the Gospel of Jesus' wife, the Gospel of Beloved Companion, the Lost Gospel, all confirm that Mary was in fact Jesus' wife. One of the verses confirming that they were married is found in the Gospel of the Beloved Companion. This beginning of his signs Yeshua did at his wedding feast at the place near Hyrcana in the land of Yehuda, and revealed his glory, and his disciples believed him. Gospel of the Beloved Companion. The fact that they were married would align to the fact that Jesus started as Adam and Mary started as Eve. Therefore, they would always come back together as a Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. They will end together as a bridegroom and bride. The soul of the daughter of God went through the life of Eve, the mother of all living, then as Rahel, the mother of tribes of Israel, then as playing harlot Tamar, then as a prostitute Rahab, then as a prophetess Deborah, then as a desolate Tamar, then as Queen Esther, then as harlot Gomer, and then as a witness to Jesus, Mary. With those lives, she fulfilled the names of the daughter of Zion from the book of Isaiah. The lives of Christ's soul represented achieving perfection in the life of Jesus. However, the lives of the soul of the daughter of Zion represented disobedience, consequence of the sin, courage, and strength. Her soul shall stand tall as a tower, just as Jesus prophesied.